Welcome into the Cowboys Report. I am your host, Tom Downey. On today's video, we're taking a look at some potential free agent targets at defensive tackle. We already did safety. Now it's time to address the interior of that defensive line. This is a significant need for the Dallas Cowboys. In particular, they need an impact defensive lineman. The depth is doable, all right? But if you're the Cowboys, you're still searching for someone who could even just be a Jay Ratliff if you want to go all the way back to that point there. Now, it's still unclear exactly how much money the team is going to be prepared to allocate to this particular position. I do want to make a note, though. Looking at the free agency crop of defensive tackles and the draft one, I think it's pretty clear the free agency grouping is more important and it's better. And because you have some depth with guys like Neville Gallimore, Tristan Hill, Antoine Woods, three players that I think are pretty useful rotation guys, I would be in the market for as best as I possibly can to find an impact interior defense. I mean, your edges are fine, especially if you bring back Aldon Smith. If not, you can draft somebody else if you really have to. So do you guys want to add a defensive tackle in free agency? If you do, I want you guys to like this video. In theory, we should see thousands of likes. If you agree with me, just go quickly like it. Now, we got a bunch of different names for you guys on today's video, and it shouldn't come as a major surprise necessarily that the number one guy on this list is someone every single one of you have heard of. That is J.J. Watt. Now, before you go, he's a defensive end. Okay, sure, kind of. He's also 6'5", 288. Guess what? That guy can and should play on the interior of your defensive line at least at times. You take a healthy J.J. Watt compared to, say, let's just go with Tyrone Crawford, for example. You know what you're doing? You're taking Tyrone Crawford, you're spamming the upgrade button until it works, and now you got J.J. Watt. Now, the Cowboys doesn't appear to have a ton of interest in Watt because reasons and things that don't make a lot of sense that we've discussed on previous videos here at the Cowboys Report. But yes, you should go explore J.J. Watt if you're the Cowboys. All right, now for some more typical prototype defensive tackles. Shelby Harris, I don't think is going to break the bank. He's almost 30 years old. He only had 2.5 sacks. He also had 7 pass breakups last year. He is not J.J. Watt. He's not even the best guy we're going to get to on this list in just a little bit. But I do think he could be a little bit closer to the Cowboys' preferred price range when it comes to a defensive lineman. Now, what I want you guys to do is name a defensive tackle that you want to sign. Now, I'm sure we'll get to most of your names, but if you get the ad break here on YouTube, scroll on down and let me know what defensive tackle you want to sign. Let's go with the guy who will probably be the most expensive option, Leonard Williams, coming off an 11.5 sack plus 14 tackle for loss season. He's only 26 years old. He is a perfect 3-tech. If you want an interior pass rusher by a significant margin as far as I'm concerned, Leonard Williams is your best bet. I wonder if he'll price himself out, at least of the Cowboys' preferred price range. His teammate, Dalvin Tomlinson, might be a little bit more obtainable. And this is the one that really intrigues me. Because if you want to go for a season in which Tristan Hill and Neville Gallimore are your two main 3-techs, and Hill might be fully recovered and have a breakout year next season, Tomlinson can play some one technique for you. And I don't think has to come off the field in all passing situations. If the Giants pay Leonard Williams, Tomlinson might be more attainable from a realistic perspective and, of course, from a cap perspective. So pick a DT and, yes, factor in the money. Type W for Leonard Williams or type in T for Dalvin Tomlinson. Let's go to Mike Pennel, a name we mentioned this time last year, by the way. He's a run stopper through and through. That's the thing that he does best. He's not going to offer you much in the passing game, but if you want another interior nose guard type to rotate with Antoine Woods, which I'm down for, and from the field at the same time to really help stop the run in obvious run spots, I think Pennel makes a lot of sense. A name that gets connected to the Cowboys pretty much every single year, Ndamukong Suh. He's still putting up pretty decent numbers. 6 sacks, 9 tackles for loss. Look, he is no longer one of the premier defensive linemen in the NFL. He's simply not. He is what I'm going to call more of a mercenary at this stage of his NFL career. If the Bucs don't bring him back or if he wants to go somewhere else, I have interest. It has to be kind of a cheaper one-year deal, but he does give me some veteran depth and some impact while you can still develop along some younger guys. BetUS, chatsports.com/bet. That's the URL to head to the internet's #1 sportsbook. When you use promo code Cowboys125, you'll get a 125% deposit bonus. And there are already some intriguing bets out there around the Cowboys that you can go bet on, right? How about the Cowboys just to win the NFC East? -120. That's about as low as it's going to be as far as I'm concerned until the season begins, where things really begin to start to change there. -120. So think about it this way, all right? I think for the most part, we're all in agreement the Cowboys are going to win the NFC East. Well, you can go over to BetUS, put down $20 of your deposit bonus, and if the Cowboys win the NFC East, you'll get an extra $16.67. Bet 20, win 16.67. Pretty good deal, right? So head over to chatsports.com/bet. Don't forget to use that URL or else it's not going to work right. And the promo code, which is Cowboys125. Let's go to Sheldon Rankins now. His deal is set to void automatically, so he will be a free agent this offseason. Former first-round pick, fits the mold of what Will McClay historically has liked to do. Call it a buy low special, the Will McClay special. Former early round draft pick, has been hampered by injuries. If you're looking for the upside, Rankins makes a lot of sense. However, because of the injury problems in the down 2020, doesn't mean it's a guarantee to work out. To JOHNATHAN Hankins now, he fits the more run-stopping mold. Now, been a couple flash-in-the-pan years of good sack production, but he's a run-stopper. He's 340 pounds. He fits with Antoine Woods, again, in that rotational mold. So if you want the run clogger, Hankins is definitely a name to watch out for. How about Gerald McCoy? Yes, he is a free agent. Not for the Cowboys. He is a veteran free agent right now. Did not play in 2020 due to a torn quad. Stephen Jones has hinted that they plan on bringing back Gerald McCoy, which I'm fine with. But we also have to acknowledge this reality. Gerald McCoy is already 32 years old. He did not play last year due to a quad issue. He tore that thing all up, and it was bad. So you cannot assume that if Gerald McCoy comes back, boom, we fixed all of our defensive tackle issues. I am down to bring back Gerald McCoy. It'll probably be on a cheap one-year deal. I think that's the most logical assumption here for the Cowboys. But I do not think that McCoy alone fixes all of these issues. So I'm typing in my Y for yes. Just know you probably got to do more. Let me know what you guys think. Again, Y for yes or N for no. Let's go to KAWANN Short, just cut by the Carolina Panthers. Long story short, I don't really want this one because he's played in 5 games in 2 years. And I don't know about you guys, but I don't want any more former Panthers defensive tackles with injury problems. I want to go in a different direction. Now, today we're doing defensive tackle targets. We did safety targets. We will do more for all the key positions for the Cowboys this offseason. If you don't want to miss any video that we do here, hit that big red button and subscribe. It's youtube.com/CowboysTV. Another guy in more that run-stopping nose tackle mold, DAQUAN Jones, 6'4", 322. A little bit more value in the pass rushing area, but I think there's a real chance the Titans try to find a way to keep him, and I don't think I want to overpay for that particular mold of player unless it's closer to a Dalvin Tomlinson-esque option. A cheap option that the Cowboys know quite well, Christian Covington. Yes, you guys remember him, the guy they signed 2 years ago, played a year, and then ended up with Denver/Cincinnati this past season. Again, cheap option, helps stop the run, not the best. A familiar name for both the Cowboys and for defensive coordinator Dan Quinn is actually Jack Crawford. This is a substantially discounted version of like J.J. Watt. He could play defensive end, could play some defensive tackle, but I think would mostly be a DT for the Cowboys. Was with Tennessee this past year, spent some time with the Falcons under Dan Quinn. If you're looking for just a cheap depth option, I do think Crawford makes some sense, even though it's not sexy, although we know the Cowboys don't make that many sexy moves in free agency. When it comes to defensive tackle in general, how big of a need do you think this is? Rate it for me on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 being, it's not a need at all. What are you talking about? We have the best defensive line core in the NFL, which I think we all know is crazy. 10 being you think there's 0 NFL caliber players on that roster. Got to be somewhere in the middle. Let me know what you guys think. How about Lawrence Guy? Now, he's been a very Bill Belichick type player since his time in New England, of course, right? Can kind of play all over the defensive line. Good run stopper, good rotation piece. Again, at his age, shouldn't be that expensive. I think could be a nice under-the-radar target for the Cowboys to be another rotational option for this organization. Another big boy on the interior to wrap things up here, Steve McLendon, was at the Jets, got traded to the Bucs, won a Super Bowl. Good for him, right? He is an older player. This is a veteran who is going to be a cheap one-year guy no matter where he goes, because you see his age right there. He's 35. This is not a player who's going to come in and be a linchpin for you in the long term. But if you just want a backup on the interior to rotate with Antwaun Woods, somebody like McLendon makes plenty of sense for the Dallas Cowboys.